So I'm Tony Garcia. I've been with Lumen just over 6 years now, 25 years experience in the communication service provider space. I currently oversee 14 businesses within the Lumen Group, of which actually Ubersmith is one of those. So with that, I will hand over to Lisa for an introduction, and then over to Michael. Over to you, Lisa.
Great. Well, thanks again for having us. So Lisa Mayer, I'm the Chief Financial Officer at INAP. INAP is a digital infrastructure company. So we specialize in networking, co-location, and cloud services. And we had a software business named Ubersmith that we'll talk a little bit about. I've been at this for over 25 years. I've been a CFO 4 times. And I really have had a lot of experience around software. So it was great to work with you all and talk the same language.
Great. Michael Inoche, I'm a managing director at Elantra. I'm based in New York and focus on software and services, investment banking, mainly M&A. We have a specialization working with companies that provide billing payment software, as well as cloud services. And we mainly advise on the M&A side, on the sell side for M&A transactions.
Perfect. So guys, I think we haven't spoken for some time, but since acquiring Ubersmith, it has been a wonderful asset for us. The team have just been brilliant. They've been like huge sponges, really adopting our best practices and playbook. Created very separate departments, rolled out a new managed service offering, a new professional services offering, both which are helping the business grow. So as I say, it's been a fantastic asset so far for us. From that perspective, just very curious to understand, what was INAP's sort of view in terms of divesting this particular asset? Was monetization of the assets key, or was it something else that was sort of driving, the right partner to acquire the business for you, Lisa? And then obviously, sure. We might sort of touch on that with Michael as well, but over to you, Lisa.
Yeah, so I'll give you a little bit of INAP has had a winding journey over the years. So they've been around for over 15 years, and they were one of the original networking providers that was internet networking access point 15 years ago. They grew through acquisitions, and they put a lot of things together that didn't belong together. For example, they acquired a small software company as part of one of their acquisitions. They over-levered the company. It went through bankruptcy. Then we got some really talented private equity sponsors to come in and help us restructure the company, and that's when I joined. And I've had the great opportunity to work with with this board that we have now, Carve-Out, BlackRock, Benefit Street, over the last 2 years to really help restructure the company. And one of the things we found is we had this really great little software company named Ubersmith, and they had a great product. They had a super talented team, and there was zero chance we could make any investments in it. And it was really small. It was less than 5% of the revenues of the company. So we said, let's try and figure out a way that we can reduce the distractions and monetize a little bit. So monetization was not one of the primary drivers of the disposition. It really was a distraction factor. But as I got to know and love the Ubersmith team, we really also just want to make sure these people found good homes. And so, we'll talk a little bit more about the deal process, but we talked to a lot of potential investors and buyers of the software company, and we really felt like a partnership with you all was the best for both INAP. It wasn't the highest value. You guys didn't bid the most money, but you definitely were able to make a deal process smooth and find great homes for our people. And I'm glad to hear that you still really appreciate them. So it was really just making sure that everybody ended up in a good spot, and we got a little bit of money along the way, and hopefully we're going to earn out and make more money. So that's exciting.
We all hope so. Yeah. Thank you, Lisa. And then, on that, can you just sort of explain how you selected Elantra really as your business partner to make sure you got the right acquirer in front of you?
Well, these guys were great. We've always, our style is transparency. And so we wanted to find a banking partner that was going to be transparent with the buyer and the seller, help us get a deal done, and Elantra also, they understood the software space that we were operating in. They were comfortable with the size of the business. They understood, things like technical diligence, in addition to financial diligence, and all the processes that need to go on. And then just, worked with us to be creative in deal structuring. So we also interviewed a bunch of bankers, not just a bunch of sponsors, and we're really happy with the Elantra Group and Michael's team. They did a great job at getting us ready for the sale, and then really helping us weigh the different opportunities that came our way. And then, of course, getting it closed pretty painlessly, I have to say.
Perfect. Yeah, and some great closing presents as well. Thank you very much.
Exactly. I know.
Yeah. So I think that's over to you now, Michael. Really, it's I think it'd be great for the audience really to understand a bit more about your process in particular. How a sort of a third party or an external broker or banker approaches such a carve-out or spin-out opportunity like this one.
Yeah, absolutely. So we had just closed a transaction less than a year before we were hired by INAP to represent them and take Ubersmith to market. And it was another company that was in the billing space. So we've tracked the space for a long time. So we knew, who all the relevant buyers were, as well as, private equity firms that had trafficked in the space and had assembled an amount of knowledge that made them want to, develop a thesis around, getting a platform. So when we were hired by INAP, we spent a lot of time thinking about the positioning of Ubersmith, looking at their technology, looking at, as Lisa mentioned, it was pretty innovative, and they had some other innovative software that they had developed that could be commercialized and developed, with the right sales and marketing effort. And so, with that, we put together materials and a model, projecting out, where we thought the business was headed, and then went to market with going out to a lot of the similar businesses that we had gone out with our prior client. It was a very, really good process. We had a lot of interested parties, just given that, the technology and the software that Ubersmith had developed, especially around, the device management, which was pretty innovative. And I think that was attractive to people, who knew the cloud and data center sectors. I think, fast forwarding to why, Lumen was a really good partner. I think one thing that, I think a lot of buyers have, and especially sponsors have trouble with, is if a company isn't growing as fast as, other companies in the market, they kind of question a little bit, about the technology. And I think that Lumen kind of saw through that and saw the potential that with the right sales and marketing effort and expertise that, the sales could be accelerated and have better market penetration. And so, alongside with that, I think Lumen had other billing software platforms focused on other industries. So I think they really knew the industry well and could and did a very well streamlined diligence process once we did get into LOI. It was probably one of the least painful diligence processes that I've been involved with, which was much appreciated. I'll pause there just to see if you have any questions.
And let me just add that not only was the diligence process smooth, but the transition process was incredibly smooth. When you all brought your playbook to the table, it really made it quite easy to transition the business, which is not always the case.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for the feedback. Really appreciate it. And, we continue to sort of tweak and improve that process, both pre-acquisition and post-acquisition, as we go forward with every new transaction. Obviously, we learn more. So really appreciate the feedback. And then, what about over to you guys? Any particular questions of myself? On maybe on how Ubersmith is really performing or anything else. But more than happy to address any questions.
Yeah, as a banker, I'm always interested in knowing how a client is performing in a new home. So it would be great to hear how Ubersmith is doing.
Yeah, so obviously it's from a revenue projection perspective, it's really on track from the management forecast that you guys had put forward. Now you would think, well, okay, that's okay, but you would be amazed how many obviously opportunities we go for it and how many transactions we end up having to temper the management forecast, just to sort of put a level of realism around it. But we didn't with Ubersmith. We sort of took a bit of a gamble, and certainly Kurt and the team have delivered. And I say that they've created new business lines using our playbook from scratch. So we now have a professional services offering. They've closed some nice size deals already. And delivering those specific services from within the current team without having to grow the team, which again was a testament to Kurt, the team, and really the playbook working. So right now we are expecting the EBIT to be in the correct range, anywhere between sort of 30 to 40%, and certainly growth. We don't tend to run any of our businesses without pushing them to at least sort of 5% growth. So it gives you a bit of a range without being too specific, given that we've all got to be careful what we say in terms of forward-looking statements. But yeah, the business is performing to the forecast that you guys had presented, and that in itself is testament to obviously the integrity and the quality of the business that you provided to us.
That's great.
Yeah,
really great to hear. And I've had feedback from different people from Ubersmith who I interacted with, and they're all extremely happy post integration and just working ongoing working with Lumen.
Yeah, from my side, selfishly, of my sort of 14 businesses, the sort of the larger percentage, I would say more than half of those businesses really are in this particular space, which is billing in particular. So having this subject matter expertise now across multiple industries, both service provider and enterprise and now data centers, gives us a huge presence. We see now so many more RFPs as a result of having created this subject matter expertise. And hopefully, without stealing any thunder, and depending on what our marketing team decides to do with our video, but we will be launching a monthly or quarterly open billing forum for our customers, right across the entire four industry segments on LinkedIn, which will be good.
That's great.
Well, I mean, with that, I think Lisa, Michael, thank you so much for your time. It's been great to catch up. We look forward, Lisa, to certainly achieving the earn-out. Let's see how we get on. We're getting close to that time frame. I know you're probably watching very closely.
Money's always good.
Yeah. Great stuff. Well, thank you very much, team.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
See you soon. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.